there is a phenomenon, or rather a practice, where even the average Hindu family in India sort of glamorizes and wishes their children to be educated in the best missionary institute across India, right? Now, why is there such a practice prevalent even today, 70 years after independence, where you see all the best colleges in India perhaps are Saint Xavier, Saint Joseph, Saint Paul's, Christ, Lamartiniers. Why is there such a trend, and what can be done about this?
You know, I think it's very interesting, because it's true that the schools, the missionary schools, used to be considered the best schools, and there were multiple reasons for it. One of the reasons were that it became fairly important to be able to learn English during the time of the colonialists, because the colonialists favored people who were more anglicized in nature. The colonialists were famous for building this entire caste of people in India called the Brown Sahibs. You know, the Brown Sahibs were brown in color, but were whiter than the whites in personality. So going to a missionary school was, possibly the only way you could learn this sort of Western ethos and culture and speak in English and be able to mingle around with other European children whose parents were in India. This was one of the primary reasons. For instance, my mother is from Ramatna in Lucknow, and one of the reasons that she and her siblings were sent there, because there were no great schools in the remote areas that my grandparents had to travel in. And this seemed like a good idea. But in today's date, I think it has to do a lot with the fact that we're still suffering from a hangover. The hangover still tells us that, these are good schools, they are stricter, and they give you more anglicized training, which is not needed any longer. But with the rise of fancier schools with better amenities, because this has become like a business. The schools that are coming up are very high grade in quality, which the missionary schools cannot keep up with. I do see a change where instead of just focusing on missionary run schools, people are also looking at other schools, which might be 3 times the price, but they would rather send their children there because of the kind of amenities that are provided. Having said that, I think it's important to look at the fact that, here when we talk about missionary schools and non-missionary schools, we're talking about people who can afford them. There's also been the larger amount of conversions has been done in, let's say, the poorer classes of the society, as well as the more vulnerable castes of society. These are the areas that they infiltrated in. Now, as in India, it's fairly easy to include caste anywhere. Yes. And that, when it is used against the Hindus, is a lethal weapon. It's always been easy to infiltrate into Hindu communities and proselytize, as, there were these caste divides. Now, where do the children of these people who have been converted from these groups go? They cannot afford these new schools. Yes. So they continue to go to missionary schools. And, missionary schools, we don't just think about in terms of in urban cities. Missionary schools are all over remote areas. And it's sad, because these children feel that this is where we get an opportunity, that we will not get an opportunity to do better in a government school or in a local, run school, that because these schools are free, because these schools have English education, and because we have this colonial hangover where we think that modernism and westernization is equivalent to Christianity, it becomes more attractive for these people to go to missionary schools.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.